Hi, it's Mike Del Signore, Massachusetts criminal defense attorney. Karen Reed was back in the news. The Massachusetts Supreme Court denied her motion to dismiss. She argued that the judge declared a mistrial too quickly without giving her lawyers a chance to object to the mistrial. The court said at the point where the mistrial was declared, the judge really had no alternatives. The jury had submitted several notes, and that requiring further deliberation could have been seen as trying to coerce a verdict. The court said it might have been better for the judge to formally ask the lawyers if they assented to the declaration of a mistrial, but they said there was no error. It was obvious that she was going to do that after the third note. They also said the judge had no obligation to ask about a partial verdict and said it would have been error for her to do so. Had the verdict came back guilty, it would have been seen as her coercing a partial verdict. So while the lawyers could have requested a partial verdict, the judge wasn't obligated to do that on her own. And the decision of whether a defense lawyer wants a partial verdict is a strategic choice. At the time, my guess is they didn't want a partial verdict because given the charges in the case was going to have to be retried anyway. Any of those charges would have subject Ms. Reed to significant jail time. I think the downside of asking for a partial verdict would have been too great. They would have risked sort of getting a guilty verdict out of the jury, whereas even if they had one count of not guilty, they still would have been retrying the case. But it could be they would have asked for it. My guess is they wouldn't have asked for a partial verdict given the seriousness of all the charges. However, the court also addressed the issue of was the judge required to engage in some post-trial inquiry after it was reported that the jury had reached a verdict of acquittal on the second-degree murder charge and leaving the scene, death resulting. The court said that a verdict has to be done in open court in a public forum. So these reports of an acquittal, the court wasn't going to go into that. The court said those could be subject to outside influence at this point. It wasn't done in court, so it's not a verdict. Double jeopardy doesn't apply. So the defense asked the court to take a more practical approach, saying, hey, if we have an acquittal here, we shouldn't punish the jury for not knowing they could have given us the partial verdict. The court rejected that argument and rejected any request to get the jurors back and see if they actually had an acquittal. So her case can go to trial. She's got a great defense and a great team of lawyers. So the next trial will be coming up in April. If you have questions about the trial or anything, feel free to reach out. My name is Mike Del Signore.